Ivermectin is something more often used to deworm horses.
CNN is saying I'm taking horse dewormer.
Rogan telling his 13 million Instagram followers that he was treated with several drugs, and he included ivermectin on the list, a drug used for livestock.
Rogan said the word ivermectin. Yes, that's the deworming medicine made to kill parasites in farm animals.
So things are clearly bad, but they're being made even worse by people who have refused to take the vaccine and instead are swallowing horse paste.
Wait a second. He said that he got better because he ate cattle dewormer.
You have individuals like Joe Rogan, for example, who don't want to take an experimental vaccine but will take horse dewormer.
Ivermectin is often used to deworm livestock.
Ivermectin, apparently given to deworm animals. Dewormer.
They keep saying I'm taking horse dewormer. I literally got it from a doctor.
He may not have gotten it from the feed supply store, but it's the same compound.
When you have a horse deworming medication that's discouraged by the government, that actually causes some people in this crazed environment we're in to actually want to try it. That's the upside down world we're in with figures like Joe Rogan.
He also acknowledged taking a controversial treatment designed for animals.
And the podcast host, Joe Rogan, he came down with COVID. He says he's been taking the livestock dewormer ivermectin, as well as other other treatments that people talk about on the internet and so on. Doesn't have any effect on COVID, obviously. Did you ever expect that you would have, I guess, to compete with the likes of Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan, Dr. Fauci? And are their voices more powerful and, I guess, more widespread than people like yourself, other public health experts who are out there? And isn't that part of the problem?
Well, Jim, disinformation and misinformation is really a very serious issue when it comes to a public health issue like COVID-19, in which it is essential to get correct information out, both for people who are infected and who do need proper medication and proper care. To foster things that are unproven right from the beginning has always been a problem. The best way to counter disinformation and misinformation is to try as best as we all can to get the proper and correct information out. But one of the enemies of public health is disinformation, and unfortunately we do see that in some quarters.
Why would I take a chance in getting vaccinated on top of that?
By the way, I'm glad you're better. I'm glad it only lasted a day.
You're probably the only one at CNN that's glad.
No. We're not.
The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication. And we should talk about that.
That bothered you.
It should bother you, too. They're lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs from veterinary.
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing... That's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Well, the FDA put this thing out. You saw that. Did you see that thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, "You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop taking this stuff," or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people, a drug that was responsible for one of the inventors of it winning the Nobel Prize in 2015?
Yeah.
Yeah, a drug that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine, motherfucker. This is ridiculous. It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying? You know that they know that I took medicine. Like, here it is. This is ivermectin.
You got
this
it with
right
you.
Here. Somebody gave it to me.
All right, hang on. The thing is, we're like going so fast. Like I feel like I'm missing.
Do you think that's a problem? That your news network lies?
Well, I don't.
Dude,
what did they say?
They lied and said I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
they
with
shouldn't have said
a
it was
bunch of other medications.
If you got a human pill, because there were people that were taking the veterinary medication, and you're not, obviously. You got it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be called that. Ivermectin can be a very effective medication for parasitic disease. And as you say, it's probably, I think what, 250 million people have taken it around the world.
More,
I get that.
Way more.
So
way more. Billions of people have taken it.
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about? Two things on
you
the
have
ledger.
You have, before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
You didn't ask? You didn't think that was you're the medical guy over there.
I didn't ask. I should have asked before
but they
coming
did
on
it
your
with
podcast.
such glee.
No,
yes,
Joe.
they did. I watched.
You watched?
I watched.
You watched? No, I don't think there's
yes,
glee.
They did.
No one takes.
Joe Rogan says he has COVID, taking livestock drug despite warnings. Yeah.
Jamie had to pull this up.
You want to play it?
Does she
This
have
is
glee?
your news network.
I'm gonna watch.
Let's see.
I'm gonna watch.
Rogan telling his 13 million Instagram followers that he was treated with several drugs, and he included ivermectin on the list, a drug used for livestock that the FDA and the CDC warn against using to treat COVID.
Turns out I got COVID. Look, they put a
So
yellow
we
filter on
immediately
me
through
too.
the kitchen sink at it. All
They
kinds
did.
of meds. Monoclonal
You see the original
antibodies,
video versus that? I look like shit there.
ivermectin,
Do you know that?
I think you look good.
Pause. It's enough.
Prednisone.
That's enough, Jamie.
I don't think Aaron had glee.
Oh, well, it's more Brian Stelter was the gleeful one. But the point is, that's a lie.
It can be used for humans. I get it. I totally.
Not just could be used for humans, is often used for humans, along with all the other drugs I took. All human drugs.
Yes,
they know it's a human drug.
It's right. But
they lied.
The thing.
It's defamatory.
It is. Yeah, they shouldn't have done that.
It's defamatory, right?
Well, I don't know if it's defamatory.
I bet it is.
Well, I'm not a lawyer.
It's a lie.
Well, see, here's the thing. You can have nuanced discussions about this.
No,
right?
you can't.
Yeah,
you can't have nuanced discussions about lying about someone taking horse dewormer.
There was no glee, by the way, from her. She
well,
was. I don't think anyone takes people's illness.
Oh, yes, they do.
They don't want you to get
sick,
sick, Joe.
Yes, they do.
They
were
want you to get
upset
sick.
that I got healthy. That's one thing they didn't report on. The fact that I was negative 5 days later. And working out 6 days later.
Well,
6 days after infection, I was back in the gym.
I'm glad.
Felt great.
I'm glad you do. I really
Me
am.
too.
I think
Thank you.
Most of the people.
I'm glad you're glad. You're a nice guy.
Most of the people I know, I think, would be glad that you. I don't think that there was any.
There's a lot of people out there that weren't glad. But my point is, you're working for a news organization. If they're lying about a comedian taking horse medication, what are they telling us about Russia? What are they telling us about Syria? Do you understand that that's why people get concerned about the veracity of the news?
The concern was look, just the nuance part of this, and you're not taking a horse dewormer. I get it. You got that as a legitimate medication from a pharmacy.
Somebody gave me. That's kind of a joke. My friend Megan brought me.
The thing about it is that what people were doing, as you may know, when they had the original trial, they showed that the plasma concentrations that you needed to be antiviral, antiparasitic, it's a very useful tool. Same thing with a lot of medications, by the way, that they can be very effective for one thing, but not as effective for something else, or not as effective at the same dose. What they were finding in some of these trials was that to get the plasma, the blood concentrations high enough, you had to take very high doses that were more in
that
line with.
That has nothing to do with me taking.
They shouldn't have called it a horse dewormer.
It's just a lie.
But he did say something about ivermectin that I think wasn't actually correct about CNN and lying. Okay, ivermectin is a drug that is commonly used as a horse dewormer. So it is not a lie to say that the drug is used as a horse dewormer. I think that's important, and it is not approved for COVID. Correct?
That's right. That's correct. It is not approved for COVID, and you're right. I mean, the FDA even put out a statement saying, basically reminding people, it was a strange sort of message from the FDA, but they said, you're not a horse, you're not a cow, stop taking this stuff, is essentially what they said, referring to ivermectin. Now, I think what Joe's point is...
It's been approved for humans, but not necessarily for COVID, right? Yeah.
That's correct. It's been used for a parasitic disease, for something it's called river blindness, and it's been very effective for that. But, just because it works for one thing doesn't mean it works for something else. Right. And, there's still a few ongoing clinical trials around ivermectin. But for the most part, if you look at the data, there's no evidence that it really works here. When Joe got sick, he took ivermectin. He also took monoclonal antibodies, which is, an infusion of these antibodies. So he took both those things. It's very likely it was the monoclonal antibodies that made him feel better so quickly.
Do I have to sue CNN?